Gonna go.
Una fam, what's good? We're back with Nqobile for yesterday's match, Europa League clash. 3-0 win away at Norway. And surprising fact, they had some fans there. So that was a bit of a nice factor, very different to watch a game with such few fans and one Arsenal fan.
The one Arsenal, I was about to say that, the one Arsenal guy. I
He's
don't
a
know how he
legend.
scored
Shout
that
out
ticket.
to the Norway Arsenal fan. We spotted you, don't worry. All of us spotted you. So yeah, Nqobile, let's get into it. Quite a refreshing performance at home. How did you make of it? I know it's Europa, but
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously the quality of the position is not that good. But yeah, I was happy, and I think we had spoken about it early on in the week that this was just more for me about the performance and just seeing us playing the right way. I didn't really care too much about the result. It was just about seeing certain things that I'd been unhappy with being improved upon. And it's good to see that the guys look. What I liked was that we seemed to play the ball a lot quicker.
Mm.
So and we also guys were playing a bit more instinctively. So they're shifting the ball quicker. They were looking to get in behind. The fullbacks were getting in behind their markers as well.
Yeah.
So it was back literally to almost the Wenger days or the latter end of Wenger's days in terms of attack, where you'd get your both fullbacks overlapping, both of your wingers running in behind, looking to getting into advanced positions in the box, and then playing the square ball into the middle. And yeah, look, I mean, the quality obviously still wasn't that good in terms of the players. I mean, I think Willock didn't really have a good first half. I mean, he improved as the game went on. And yeah, like Lacazette, I think had a shocker.
Yeah.
I think he's probably out of everyone probably gonna walk away the most disappointed. Pepe looked like a man possessed. He had a
Hey.
bit between his teeth. Look, there were still a few elements of his game that weren't great in terms of he still lost a few balls. Some of his decision making was still not that great. But what I liked about him is the fact that he was so direct yesterday. He was also varying his play. He wasn't coming short all the time. He was looking to get in behind. He was looking to make runs beyond last man. And for me, he was utilizing his pace, which is his key aspect. And therefore, once he starts doing that, when he starts coming short to collect the ball, the guy won't track him as much because he's not sure whether actually might spin in behind. And so so then that buys him a lot more time in terms of now the guy maybe might stand off because he's frightened, he might be informed, so he will stand off him, and then that allows him to come short, collect the ball, turn, and start running at the guy at pace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather than when he tries to come short, the guy is literally on his back, and we know that he can't hold up the ball. He's not strong. He's not really. He's like Bakayo Saka. They're not really strong when you play the ball to feet and there's a man behind. Yeah, they can't shield the ball. So it takes away. I think it takes away that deficiency in his game once that happens. Once he varies his play like that, and yeah, I was quite impressed with his performance. As I say, obviously yes, it was weak opposition, but I think that's more like what we would want to see from him. Obviously, as I said, there are a few things that are a bit wrong. Some of his shooting was off. The times where some of his crossing was also still a bit off. So there are elements that he can still work on, like the rest of the guys. I could say the same about Reece Nelson as well. There were a few things that he can also still work on in terms of his final product. But I think it was the intent that I liked about our guys, And as I said, the guys were pressing a lot higher. They weren't afraid. So they were doing all the things you're talking about. That maybe it was also because it was weak opposition, so they were willing to take those risks. Guys were taking risks. Guys were pressing the guys up high. Guys weren't dropping into the box the whole time. They were looking to close the guys. Our midfield was looking to close the guys further up. But we weren't like having 7 men in the box for no reason, only marking 2 people. We were looking to actually go and engage guys further up the pitch and marking, which I think also then you saw led to us when we broke. Yeah, when we broke, we were breaking with numbers. We were breaking with 4 or 5 guys, and it was 4 or 5 guys literally at the top of the middle, not the top, sorry, at the bottom of the middle third, going towards the halfway line. So it was an advanced
And it
areas.
becomes a more progressive run. You know, you got more
Comes,
options.
yeah, exactly, and you got less space, and you've got more people, and people
Yeah.
are running from your are not running from as deep as their own box, and by the time they get to the last third, the midfield has recovered, and oh yeah, the opposition team has recovered. You know, so I think that element, obviously, yes, the quality aspect is the one thing we're still lacking, and we can't solve for it via the transfer market, obviously,
Yeah.
because we don't have a lot of money. So I think what Arteta just needs to do is just to say identify these kids' strengths. Which for me is playing off the cuff, playing with pace, not the structured football, the slow build up and structured football doesn't suit them because they don't really have the skills to unlock doors to beat players, or to dribble out of tight situations. They need a lot of space. They need a lot of direct, quick football,
So
which is
maybe I can
what
pose
happened.
this to you. Like,
Yeah,
so the first half was very, you could say it was a tough first half. You know,
yeah,
we
it was
didn't.
tougher stuff. Yeah,
Those guys actually played pretty decently and they tackled quite well in the last third. I
yeah,
felt when we
yeah.
got there, we didn't really move the ball faster. But in the second half, what do you feel changed? I don't feel anybody really stepped up. I think maybe they just improved. Like as you said, Willock and Nelson weren't doing too good
Yeah.
in the first half, but they got better, passing the ball better, moving the ball better, looking at speed. Was it that, or did you see anything else that kind of nailed it,
Yeah,
or the opponent weakened down and it
yeah.
just
So yeah, it's a bit of for me. It's a bit of both. So I think our decision making in the second half was a bit better, um, but also I think it was coupled with that they dropped off a bit. I mean, they were making some incredible last ditch tackles.
yeah,
In Molde, we were getting into good positions, but I think that there was some heroic defending in there in terms of the guys who were able to put in a tackle when we looked like we were going to be thrown goal. The guy would come and put it a last ditch. So I think obviously they couldn't keep that up for the whole match, you know. And then obviously went through that spell where we scored those goals. So I think it was a bit of both, in that they dropped off a bit, but I think they dropped off because of our relenting pressure and the way that our pace and our relenting, we didn't give them an opportunity to get back, to keep shape. You know, we pulled them and we pulled their players into positions that they didn't want to be, and in the end, the pressure told.
And do you think the Nketiah and Lacazette playing together worked last night? Because you did say Lacazette didn't have a good game, you know, but is it
Nah,
because
he didn't.
them played, or
But
what do you think attributed? Because I didn't feel both of them playing together worked, but somehow,
no, it didn't. But for me, it didn't work out of the lack of quality from the both of them, rather than the thought, the thought
yeah,
behind it.
yeah,
Because Lacazette was able to actually pick up positions deep or semi-deepish, but that he was able to actually get into good positions in that 10 role. But then
yeah,
when he got the ball, his decision making was poor. His pass was poor. Or sometimes he'll miscontrol the ball, or sometimes he'll just make the wrong pass.
mm,
Um, and for me, I think he only really had one shot, proper shot at goal, which was in the second half. The first half
yeah,
he fluffed to the one chance he had,
yeah,
where
yeah.
I thought he should have took a shot, and then he dummied and tried to bring it into his left, and then by that time they had already closed him, and then he tried the pass, and then it was a poor pass.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, so I think it was, for me. I think if if the players we had in those positions were a bit more concerned, like let's say if you look, I don't even know if it would work with the Paman, but you saw like literally with Balogun when he came on,
Yeah, I was
first
about to
touch,
next question.
and he didn't do anything spectacular, but he just did it just okay,
Easy,
which is
the
what
basics.
the rest of these guys were not doing. I mean, you saw Eddie miss for me, a sitter of a header.
Just quite a few, and it
Um,
was a bit poor on the
yeah,
ball as well, you know.
yeah,
Which
and
is why it was
exactly.
very easy.
So I think both of them didn't really have great games, but I'm just hoping it's more a case of that maybe it's just the lack of confidence,
And
and
also
that they
game
will start
time, they have to
once the
play.
goals start coming. Yeah, once the goals start coming hopefully they'll start coming. Um, they will. I think they will get better and better.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the only way we can, since we're not playing with a traditional 10. That's the one way we can ensure we get at least some numbers in advanced positions. And Lacazette can do it well because he likes dropping
Yeah,
dropping deep. And then now, at least if there's another striker, because the one thing with Lacazette is that he's not as mobile as people think. So if he drops and collects the ball and plays it, he's not one of those to play the ball and then spin around and make a run and get
like a
into an
darting
advanced.
line, yeah.
Yeah, like a darting run, exactly. So he's not like a Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That's the one guy who does that very well. We can come hold the ball, lay it off, and then make another run in behind to try and make himself available. Whereas with Lacazette, I think when he drops deep and plays the ball, he kind of then that's him. He doesn't then
Yeah, he
try
can
and
read
look to support.
one or two players.
Yeah, he doesn't look to then get into that advanced position and provide support and an outlet again. So as I was saying, I think this formation suits him. It's just that I think he's lacking confidence
Yeah.
at the moment. And purely out of, if we had like a
You
proper
didn't see
10,
when he went
I
out.
reckon if we had a proper 10 who could play, hold up the ball, spin, who was
Yeah,
because Joe Willock isn't that guy. He's not the guy to be able to get on the ball, to like spin, lay it off, or play a pass. He's more of a box to box guy, and we don't really have a player like with that guile who can get into those. Because I mean, we saw Emil Smith Rowe getting into those positions and look semi decent, and he wasn't. He's still coming really. He's still coming back to his best after an injury hit. Exactly, an injury hit season. But you know, if you can get a player like that with who has a lot more quality, there's something to that formation. I think it can
You can utilize all
really,
of our attackers a lot better if we had that
yeah,
quality. Aubameyang,
yeah,
more Lacazette, because he likes that going onto a ball rather than stopping
yeah,
and move from a dead
yeah,
ball situation. Pepe just likes to have the ball. So whether you play him in front of someone or give it straight to him, he has the ability. But I get what you mean. And I thought Reece Nelson was going to bring that, but Emil Smith Rowe came on. And let's talk about that. Emil Smith Rowe and Baluga, I forget
yeah,
that
yeah,
one, coming on, and he scores. Emil Smith Rowe assist. Look, it wasn't amazing play, but as you said,
yeah,
you just need to get the shot off, get the pass to the guy. Passed it decently too in the box as well. And the other thing, like you can touch on those two kids. And then do you think the performance today also attributes from so many guys from the academy? We had like Maitland Niles, Willock, Nelson, Nketiah, all of these guys and also Lacazette's been in the mix for a while. So you've seen these
yeah,
kids. Do you think like as we have this very tough formation type of style in Premier League, these kids are so used to playing with each other that they can just improve as the games go on. Because we've seen in Europa, Willock has been playing decently.
yeah,
Even Pepe, a lot of the kids are doing well. Even Niles had a decent game yesterday. So yeah, how's your
yeah.
feeling on also our youngster and then all the academy guys
Yeah.
doing that?
Look, yeah, obviously it's good to see all the Hale and the
Yeah,
youngsters there, getting a chance to play. Look, I don't think they're the greatest youngsters. I think there are a lot of like Chelsea, Man City have got better youngsters than ours. Look, you will hardly ever see the Man City ones, but they do have they do have good youngsters. You do see some of them in the League Cup. Um, but yeah, so with those guys, for me, I think obviously this is their level, and it's a chance for them to, I think, gain that confidence, gain that experience, um, and yeah, just hone and sharpen their skills. And it's an opportunity for them to break through. Now it's obviously about being able to transfer that form into the Premier League. We've seen Willock not really being able to do that. We've seen Saka and Martinelli being able to do that. Smith Rowe injuries have plagued him. We must also remember that he's had a chance in the past before he went out on loan last season. But I
Yeah,
think with him, it's just injuries. Injuries have been hampering. The one guy I think that could break through is Reece, because I think Reece has been severely underperforming since he's come back from his spell
yeah,
in Germany. And I think for me, this is a real opportunity for him to find his form again and find his confidence. Um, we know Ainsley. Ainsley is Ainsley. I
yeah,
don't really think there's much more that you're going to be getting from him outside maybe of just the decision making and maybe concentration from him. Well, more concentration than decision, because I think he's still a bit slack on the ball. It's not his lack of ability. Sometimes it's just his application. I think
Yeah,
that's where
yeah,
he can still. But in terms of his ability, I think we've seen what he can do, and I don't really think there's much more than what we're seeing that he can deliver from an ability point of view. As I'm saying, it's just application with him. So yeah, it's semi-promising. Look, I don't think all of these kids are gonna end up making it at Arsenal. If we can get maybe out of the 7 of these youngsters we're seeing now, if we can get 4 or 5 of them being able to make it, um, I think we would have done well. But I expect some of them to fall by the wayside and probably end up being sold to mid-tier Premier League clubs. Um, I look. I don't really think Eddie. Maybe he's trying too hard at the moment. I don't know, but I'm still not really sold on him.
yeah,
In terms of that, will he be the guy for us? Look, I think he'll still be a decent Premier League player, but I don't get that feeling that he's going to be the main man at Arsenal. He's going to be around for the next 10 seasons, let's say,
yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. True.
at Arsenal. But maybe look, I hope he proves me wrong, because we know at junior level the amount of goals he scored, also in England junior level as well. It's just that I don't know, like whether it's the pressure in the Premier League, or I don't know, maybe if he's just putting in too much pressure on himself
Yeah,
to deliver there, or whether actually, the step up for him is just that next level for him is just a bridge too far, But yeah, as I say, hopefully he'll prove me wrong. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to some of these kids breaking through. Obviously, I'm looking forward to Saka. I'm looking forward to maybe Reece Nelson. I just hope now he'll grab his
good
chance with
yesterday.
Pepe. With Pepe being injured, with Pepe being suspended, Willian possibly being injured. I hope that he can get an opportunity or two, or at least make this. Because I mean, in the past he wasn't even making the bench, right? So I'm just hoping that he can at least make the bench, get a cameo appearance here and there, or maybe even get a start,
Yeah,
here
true.
and there.
No,
So yeah.
definitely. Look, yesterday he looked a lot better. He looked a lot better, more direct, better
Yeah,
thinking, and he grew with the game. I felt even Willa grew
yeah,
with the game as well. And I think that's positive signs. It's just, as you said, the translation from wherever you're playing to Premier League, it's a big
yeah,
change, and it's never easy. It's never easy. And then just to talk about the last kid, man, I can't pronounce his name, but the guy that scored the goal the on his debut.
of
Yeah,
Fowler and Peluga. Yeah,
Bellingham, yeah. So
yeah.
how did you feel, man? I was excited when I saw his goal.
No, I was happy for that kid, because I
Those
mean,
those were
I've been
been
watching his
calling for
highlights.
long.
Yeah, yeah, I've been watching him in the junior. His highlights in the junior side, where he's been banging goals for fun. Obviously, we all know his contract is up. I'm hoping Arteta. We know Arteta's a smooth talker. Hopefully, he can smooth talk
Yeah,
him to stay on, because I think he's a real prospect. That guy. He looks strong. He's quick. Shoots well. Can dribble. So yeah, I'm very very excited. I mean, and I think there's a lot of hype around him. If I recall correctly, was it who was trying to buy him?
oh, I remember. I think it was it Atletico?
Sheffield. Was it Sheffield
Yes,
United?
yes, yes. Sheffield,
They
Sheffield.
tried to buy him for close to like 20 million pounds last season, something stupid like that. Or yeah, so last season it was, and we said no. We were trying to
Yeah,
So I know there was a big price tag put on him last season before he went into his final year of his contract, and yeah, we basically rejected a deal that was close to 20 million. Well, we wanted 20 million, I think. It could have been probably about 7 or 8 actually, and we wanted 20. Um, but yeah, so I'm really hoping that he will get a chance, because I think there's an opportunity, because the guys, if you look at Lacazette and you look at Eddie, I don't think they've really done enough this season. And for me, I'd like to see, especially now since there's only 2 more, we've already qualified and there's 2 games
yeah,
left in the Europa. I'd like to see him getting a start there, maybe over Lacazette. I'm hoping that by then Lacazette maybe would have found a bit more form
yeah,
and would be a Premier League player more than actually like a bit part Premier, like a half and half player. And then hopefully we can maybe see Balogun and Eddie maybe in the Europa League together and see what they can do as a striking duo. But yeah, I think probably now in the Premier League, sorry, not in the Premier League, in the Europa League, we're probably going to see Arteta going more with the 4, especially in these last 2 games. I think I expect him to go with a 4-4-2 in there, and then asking one of the strikers to drop deep and be that number 10 or that that false 10 for us.
The old Wenger ways.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, it would be nice to see. So before we wrap up, just last few here. Do you have a man of the match for yesterday's or last night's performance?
I mean, obviously, I think there's only like really one guy. I can point out Pepe. But look, also just to single out another person, I was really impressed with our keeper. Look, I don't think he's amazing, but what I liked about him was Runarsson. Yeah, Runarsson. Yeah, look, I think the guy should have scored. That was. I don't know if it was even going wide. That's how bad that shot was. That guy should have scored. But for me, I think what impressed me about him was just his communication. You could clearly hear him calling for the ball. He looked commanding, even though he's like very small in size. But he was commanding. And then another thing I liked about him was just his distribution. He just looked so comfortable. His feet was pinging passes, left foot, right foot, playing balls. And look, I think he did put Holding in a few sticky situations. I think he had forgotten that he's not. I think he forgot he was playing with Holding and not with David Luiz anymore. You know, because you'd expect David Luiz to deal with that quite easily, to get the ball on his left foot, ping it with his right. You know, whereas Holding, Holding's limitations when it comes to that. But yeah, I was really impressed with him, and hopefully he can also start getting a few more opportunities in Europa. And just building up a lot more confidence in us to know that we've got a good backup keeper should something happen to Leno. Not beyond the realms of possibility.
Especially because this guy, we kind of took a chance. We needed a backup. We bought him. Now, if anything goes wrong with Leno, he's kind of straight in the deep end. Premier League.
Exactly.
So that is a fair point. And then, games are coming quick and fast. We have Wolves up next, never an easy fixture with these dudes. So, what do you think we need going into that game?
I think it's just we need more of the same. We just need to be a bit more direct, a bit more quicker. I think that's how we beat them also last time, right? Is that we just hit them with two quick attacks. Yeah, we broke with speed when we did, and then so if we play the same slow, laboured football, they play with 5 at the back. Well, we're probably going to play the same systems, right? We're probably both going to play a variation of the 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. So we need to just make sure, and they're much better than us, I think, in that system. So we just need to make sure that we utilize our quality and make sure that we isolate their players, make sure that we get into one-on-one, make it 1v1, our attackers against their defenders, make sure we play the ball quickly out to our outlets in Aubameyang or Lacazette or Saka, wherever it be. And just utilize our pace and just try and create havoc there, and not give them an opportunity to settle, get back into shape, because we all know that we don't have the guile and the ability. Once teams get back into shape, we don't have that guile and an ability to unlock that door. So I think that's what we just need to do, and just to make sure that we press the guys a bit high up the pitch, we engage them a lot higher up the pitch, and we're not passive in our defending and in our marking. So I think if we can get that element right, and I think they're a tough team, but I think you saw how we beat them towards the end of last season, and I think for me more of that is required in this game. If we do this. If we do those aspects of the game that are highlighted, well, we should beat them, I reckon. But it's going to be a tough game. But if we play the same slow, laboured way, it's going to be a long night at the office.
It's been a long few weeks. Europa is just exciting, Do you think these Premier League games coming up are now kind of must-wins or must get a result kind of game?
You must get a result in the next 2 games. You cannot afford. I think Arteta can't afford to lose any of them. If anything, maybe I'll take a win and a draw. Probably win-win is probably the best case scenario. obviously, but win and draw one of them,
Yeah,
preferably beat Spurs and draw against Wolves.
of
Even I'll
course.
take, if I had to really pick one. Um, but yeah, I think it's really really vital that Arteta doesn't lose any of these games for the sake of just his career and his momentum and getting back that feel good feeling. Because I think it's also with him, he's also, I think, still a bit nervous and still doesn't really trust the players to
Yeah,
trust them enough defensively, and that's why I think he's asking them to 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 be a bit more reserved and to be a bit more thoughtful about their passing and in their defending, to play a lot deeper rather than just playing a lot more off the cuff and being a bit more intense and a bit more free flowing, you know. And I think obviously if we lose then one of these coming games, it will then, I think, maybe reinforce in his mind that, you know what, I can't actually trust these guys to go out and press, to go out and be a bit more aggressive, um,
yeah.
because we'll get beat, you know.
It's
And
a difficult situation.
it will undo, I think, a lot of the good work that yesterday's fixture would have probably instilled in him, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a tough one. I think every Premier League game is like a difficult chess match.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta be prepared, and you are right. I think his tactics will work, but personnel doesn't have maybe the confidence to fully go ahead with everything. So we're running at like 60% kind of making our
Yeah.
way through the games. And look, it's coming on a year, to be fair, that he's in charge of us. So it's been an eventful, crazy year for him, for us, for the world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll just have to see. But you are right. I think these next two games we need results because I forgot what a win in Premier League is feeling like now.
we all forgot it.
At least we won, and the United one was a tasty one. So we'll take
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But Nqobile, it's always a pleasure. Probably catch you after the Wolves game on Sunday, if
Yeah.
you're able. It's a late one, I think. Yeah, it's like
It's a
9.
very late one.
Yeah, they catch us. They catch us. They don't want us to do these shows. Yeah, they want us to suffer. Yeah, late nights.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thanks again. Europa catch up with 3-0 against Molde. What can we say? We did the job. We went away. Top of the
Mm.
group, qualified. So yeah, just got 2 games in hand, and hopefully we can use that to, I suppose, experiment. Like to see better what else we have out there in our armory. But yeah, it was Nqobile giving us his chat, giving us his views on yesterday's match, and also going for Sunday's game. Because yeah, we got a lot of football coming up, and it's me, Kish. It's Gunakas Ese. We out.